Hi, I forgot to do this. Welcome to another update video. I wanted to do this like once a year, and then I looked at last year and I was like, oh, that in January, not February. Here, this one's in February, I guess. I kept trying to do this, but I would always have something else to do. Well, firstly, I kind of took like a break in January because, you know, ad revenue always sucks in January. It's right after the holidays when nobody's spending money on advertising. So it's like, you know, if I'm going to release this video that's like a lengthy-ish video and it's one I care a lot about, I want to put it out in a time where it's going to do well. So that was Signalis. I kept just working on that instead of doing this video, and that's done. That's out now. You can watch it. If you didn't see it, YouTube told me it got less views than usual, yet my analytics were also telling me that it had a higher click-through rate than usual, which the only thing I can discern from that is that YouTube didn't put it in people's feeds. So just in case, I'm going to say this early in the video, if you didn't see the Signalis video I got put out, that's out now. You can watch that. I put a lot of heart and soul into that one. That game had left me with a lot of complicated emotions, and while I didn't like fully understand, I don't really know what's actually happening in the game's plot. It's really like kind of vague and symbolic. I did explore the feelings and the themes, and I was kind of proud of that. I had one or two people tell me that I came off as really cheesy in like, I don't know, trying to have like an emotional delivery or whatever, but I don't know. I'd rather come off as cheesy to people if it means I actually get to get across the emotions I want to. You know, I'd rather do that and then have it not connect with some people than I would just, you know, hide behind all the winks and nudges and never really committing to anything serious, so whatever. I got a lot of nice comments on that video. Thank you very much. I'm really appreciate that people connected with it. Reading comments about like more thematic plots like that and just seeing how people feel and stuff, that's always my favorite responses. So thank you everybody for commenting on the Signalis video. Your response has been like fantastic, and it was really cool reading through all that. But anyway, this is not, oh my god. This is an update video about what I'm going to be doing this year and how my past year's been, you know, the challenges I've faced and all the ideas I got. I don't know if any of you care, but here's a video saying it in case you do. Got my kitty cat coffee mug. I got my kitty cat in the corner, one of them at least. I'll talk a little bit more about them. People seem to really appreciate me talking about my cats, so I guess I'll talk about them again at the end of this. But for now, right out of the gate, I figured I'd get across my plans for 2023 because I do want to do some stuff that is quite exciting to me. Last year, 2022, I wanted to be the big year of me reviewing all the indie platformers I wanted to review, and I only got to do so many of them. I especially really wanted to do a video about Stephanie because they're from one of my favorite indie developers, and I played the demo for it and it was like really interesting and cool, and like the actual platforming mechanics themselves are really interesting, but I never got around to that, and I didn't get around to doing half of the ones I wanted to do. There's just so much stuff. Like that KO reboot came out, and that's like priority. That's like history there. I reviewed that whole series. The new KO game, I'm the one who cares about that. I gotta talk about that. But I did get to make videos about Demon Turf, Blue Fire, that Cat World game that I kind of found out of the blue there, and Sammy Roll. So I did at least got to tackle all of the favorite ones I found, but there's still like so many more. And like these poor indie developers also sent me like review codes to these games. I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. And then I never got to because there's just like so much other stuff I also wanted to talk about. So I think the first video I'm going to do in 2023 is, I mean, other than the Signalis video, but the first video after this I want to do is like, because you know my problem is I just make videos about one game. I just like taking a look at one game at a time so I can fully flesh it out. But it's like, you really think about the purpose of these videos, and I guess the real purpose of these indie game videos is like, to put it in front of people. You know, I got a platform and these indie developers are like struggling to get their game out there and get it in front of people. And you know, when you're somebody like me who talks about platformers, it's like, this is the perfect place for it. So I feel terrible when I don't get to do that. But like, since that's more so the purpose, maybe I don't need to make just one video about just the one game. Maybe I can make a jam pack video and stick them all in one little package and just be like, here's 5 minutes each, and here's the features of them all, and then here's the platforms they're on, and blah blah blah. So I think that is going to be the first video I do in 2023, because there's so many indie platformers I still want to talk about. I still got to talk about Stephanie, Clive and Wrench, Hellpie, Lunistis I talked about a little bit in my top 10 video, or my Raddest Games of the Year or whatever video. I got a bunch more written down. There's Caverns of Dreams. Yeah, there's a bunch written down. So I'm going to do a video just shoving them all into one video. I would like to know what you guys think of that. Is that a little weirder or different, or you don't like that I'm not going to be able to say as much about each thing? Or do you think it's just more important just to be like, hey, here's what's appealing about it, here's the gist of it, and let's just put them in front of people? Yeah, what do you think? Once all of that is all out of the way, then I really want to do something I've been wanting to do for a while. So my focus always bounces around with stuff. It has been particularly chaotic these past couple of years where I feel like I don't have like a single focus, and it mostly ends up being like a chaotic clash of like indie new stuff and then like, I don't know. But this year I want to go back to just strictly reviewing old games, because I feel like that was always my favorite thing. I feel like there's a story to be told there, and I also love this idea that maybe there are games that hide interesting things, or maybe they're just so terrible that they're like comical, and I like being the person that can bridge the gap between an experience that is harder for people to interact with and those people that want to see what this game's about. And then at the same time, it's also really exciting going to old stuff and picking out the ideas that were interesting that failed to get fleshed out. I used to get a lot of comments from people saying that they appreciated I did that, because you never know what kinds of old cool ideas these old crappy games are gonna hide. So that's what I want to do 2023. Back to my origins, just reviewing platformers from PS1, N64, PS2, Dreamcast, all that era. Platformers no one's heard of, platformers no one cares about, and I have a huge list because I've taken requests in the comments over the years, and people point out games that I haven't reviewed yet. Like, why haven't you reviewed Metal Arm's Glitch of the System? I'm like, I don't know, what the hell is that? You Google it, it's like, oh, this is something I should write down to get someday. And you know what happened? I got it someday. That game, and another game, and another game. And now I'm sitting on this big collection of obscure, who cares about this, platform games that all look really neat. And I just want to have a year where I go through all of them. Now, usually when I do this, in years past, I've stuck to a certain console and kind of marathon through a bunch of N64 games, or marathon through a bunch of PS1 games, or marathon through a bunch of, you know, one series like Mario games or something like that. But I figured this year I want to have more variety to it. I don't want to stick to one platform. Because I have games I want to tackle from everything. So then I had a fun idea. Then why don't we do everything? Why don't we just do one platformer for every console? Except maybe Super Nintendo. I don't really have many Super Nintendo games, and I don't really like talking about 2D games as much as I like 3D games. But there's one, maybe two 2D platformers in the mix that I wanna do. But I have a lot of options. I have so many per each console, like especially Xbox Original and PS2. Like for GameCube, there's one I know I want to do. For N64, there's one I know I want to do. For PS2, I have like 7. So to try and help me decide, I'm going to have a straw poll down in the description below. I did this on Twitter a couple of months ago just to kind of generally gauge interest in all of the different old platformers I had, but there's a lot I was missing too. So that was a really useful poll for kind of generally gauging like, what do people really care about, what do people not care about as much, because I want to have like a balance. I don't want to just do stuff no one cares about. I don't want to just do the stuff that people really care about either. I kind of want to have a back and forth, right? Kind of sprinkle it through. So that was a good poll for helping me figure that out. But I want to do another one just for good measure. So this one's going to be a more thorough poll. It's going to have like every old 3D platformer that I am currently sitting on, and vote for which ones you would like to see on the channel the most. A lot of these I've already decided on which ones I'm going to do, but probably only about like a third of them. I'm still kind of undecided, but again, it's exciting because I have so many options. I want to see what people think, and then throughout the year we're just going to be talking about old stuff. I even have one for Dreamcast. I even have one for Sega Saturn. That I'm really, no, I have two. I have two 3D platformers that are only on the Sega Saturn. They only came out in Japan too. And I don't know which one to pick, so you guys can do the poll. We'll figure that out. I don't know. As for Halloween, I have two ideas I want to do for the horror review this year. I'm either going to do Blue Stinger, because that got brought up in the Illbleed video. There's a new avenue there I want to explore. I can bounce off of the previous video I did because it was the same creators, but more so because I got a couple of comments telling me not to play it, saying that the game was a frustrating nightmare that is nearly impossible to get through. which makes it sound like the exact sort of thing I want to make a video about. I want to bridge that gap, right? Like what I did with Bubsy 3D. Like that's one of the videos I'm the most proud of because it was one of the most difficult things I've ever got through. But now I have this video where people can click on that video and they can pretty much see what the whole game looks like. I want to do that again. I want people to be able to see the entirety of Blue Stinger because it's a game that's so bad they probably wouldn't be able to get through it themselves. But there we go. There's a version of that experience they can consume comfortably. So yeah, I really want to do Blue Stinger. However, if that Silent Hill 2 remake comes out this year, that's it. That's what I'm doing. I would also love to talk about the Silent Hill games again. Because a lot of my old videos on those games, those are like the first time I ever really talked about horror, is before I really understood themes yet, is before I really understood the mechanisms of horror as well. You know, I go back to those videos sometimes and I feel like I understand some things that are going on, but I do misunderstand some things, more so plot-wise, and I definitely don't explain what I mean very well sometimes. So I would love to like revisit all of the Silent Hill games someday, but I feel like I would make a special whole year out of it. Like one of these years eventually, I just want to do a whole year of nothing but horror games, and it's not going to be this year. Be putting out a Signalis videos the first thing, and I guess I did kind of like 3 horror videos in a row, sort of, if you don't count the Radis Games video. But that won't be this year, even if it felt like it's just going to be the horror year, but no, I don't know if I would re-review the latter 4, like the ones that came out after The Room. But I would love to re-review the first 4 games because my opinions on those games have changed a lot over the years. I feel like I understand them better. Some of my perceptions of their strengths and weaknesses have changed a little bit. Yeah, especially like me criticizing Silent Hill 2 for being too easy, and I'm not even playing on the hardest difficulty. It's like, that's why those are there, past James, you fucking idiot. But that's what happens when you play through a game that you know, you played through it a couple times, and you play through it once and then do the review, and like nowadays I kind of like would play through it a lot more times and get more information before I say shit like that. So yeah, I feel like a year of horror, that's what I want to do, maybe year after next. And I say the year after next because next year is going to be my 10th anniversary. So I have to put out a new Star Tropics video is what I want to do. But that won't be this year, that'll be next year. This year's going to be all platformers all the time, all old school, buddy. And I'm really excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. Because again, it feels like I'm going back to what Nitro Rad was when I first started doing it just as practice for editing in college. And I feel like now that I have a more finely whittled perspective from playing a lot of these games, I feel like I can maybe be a little more efficient in how I critique them and kind of blast through some of their problems a little more comfortably because I understand old jank so much better from playing so many of these old games. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing this coming year. That's kind of how my past year was. I feel like I could have done more this past year, but I don't know. I've not entirely been like the best version of myself this past year. I've had like my anxiety's gotten really bad randomly. I've had like spikes, and it never used to happen like this bad, but I've had days where like I can't do anything. I just want to sleep all day, and I sleep in way too late, and then I just get so discouraged by looking at the clock, how late I slept, how much of the day I wasted, and I have like no motivation. I don't know, is that what depression is? I don't know. My girlfriend really wants me to see a doctor about it, about like my anxiety disorder. But you know, that's a really scary thing when, you know, I've never been on medication ever my whole life. I've always been the kind of person who's like kind of paranoid about what he puts into his body. You know, like if I take an aspirin, I read the whole fucking bottle. I know it's something I shouldn't be afraid of. I know it's something I should like get out of my dumb little fucking comfort box and just make a meaningful choice in my life that's gonna help me. But that's something I really should do. God, it's been like, I've had terrible moments this past year. I remember like a lot of it's social anxiety. Like, I don't have like a whole bunch of a social media presence because, like, you know, the more followers you get, the more scary that becomes, the more like uncertain that becomes. It's like, who's reading this? What do these people think of me? Does anyone actually give a shit about me, or is everyone playing pretend, or is this just like they're just kind of reacting the way that you come to expect from this? Or a lot of times on Twitter, I'll like type out a response to somebody and then I'll just like delete it. It's like, they don't care, or how do I know anyone would give a shit about this, or like, or how do I know that this isn't rude in some weird way that I can't figure out? Or, and then you just start thinking like, what if this, what if this, what if this, until there's like 9 reasons you shouldn't post it, and your brain isn't done, and it's gonna keep making, and then you just delete it. Just to make that feeling go away, you just delete it. And I have that some days. I don't get that all the time. Like, I have my good days on Twitter where like I'm just tweeting dumb bullshit nonsense all day. I'm just like, I don't fucking give a shit. ass is shitting poop. I don't know. Let's say random dumb shit stories. I don't give a shit. But I remember I had this one particularly awful day that was like kind of unveiling to me that there's a fucking problem in my brain where I was doing that all day. I was typing out responses and then deleting them, and I did that probably 20 times. I was editing a video, I don't remember when this was, it was like late summer, and I was editing a video and I had Twitter open and I would just like reply to like people I was mutuals with, people that like I care about and respect and like I want to engage with them. But that invisible voice that you can't quite hear yet you know what it's thinking is always just, I don't know. And then at a point, I deleted so many tweets, and then I realized, wow, I'm pretending to talk to people. I clearly really want to engage with people, and I fucking can't. And I started crying, and it was fucking horrible. So I gotta fix that. That's not normal. You know, it's one thing to kind of brush it aside enough times because you have like a lot of problems. Like, I don't know, you just kind of push it away. It's like, maybe I'm just being too sensitive today. But then it's like, it gets to a point where it's like, this behavior doesn't make sense. What's wrong with me, right? So it's like, I think I should talk to a doctor or something about like my social anxiety, because I've always known I've had social anxiety. I've always struggled like interacting with people, but this past year, in the weirdest, like most specifically like nonsensical ways, it's become like particularly bad. So I don't know, that's something I should probably get fucking looked at. I'm not saying to worry about me. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, I guess I'm growing. I'm almost 30 now, and you know, just adult problems are starting to creep into my life, and it's just like, okay, guess it's time to face them best I can. Wish me luck, I guess. I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I don't feel like an adult, dude. I still feel like I'm 19, going to college for the first time. No idea how any of this shit works. I barely have any life skills. Hey, at least I can cook. Pretty good at that. I'll make a mean chili though. There's a lot of things I think I just gotta take a step forward on this coming year to try and help myself to stay on that path of like self-improvement and just like feeling good about yourself. Or just feeling good in general. I know like exercise is one. I used to get so much exercise. I think the best I was feeling is like when me and Tori first started dating, would have been like 4 years ago now, and I was walking home from her parents' house all the time because I don't drive. I still don't drive. I don't fucking drive. I'm terrified of driving, and it's way too expensive. I can never afford it. So I don't care. It's an hour walk home. I'm just gonna walk home like every night, like 3 to 4 times a week. And like I lost so much weight. I was so healthy. I mean, I was eating Subway every day back then, so it probably wasn't the most healthy, like making the molecules into a guy, but it was the healthy movins boy at that time, and it felt great. And now that we live together, I don't get to walk nearly as much, especially in the winters when it's freezing cold. And it didn't matter back then because it's freezing cold. I want to see my girlfriend. I want to walk home in the freezing cold. Oh well. Now it's just like, why would we do that? Oh, we don't need to, so I won't. So I gotta exercise more. I also want to get glasses. I haven't been able to see shit in so long. Every time I go into like a grocery store or like a large open space, especially with fluorescent lights, it's like I can't see anything. And it's still like the most overwhelming experience. And you forget that, because I guess I'm nearsighted. You forget that when you're in your own home, because everything's close enough to me. I can read it all, and maybe things are a little blurry. A lot of times I have to squint to read text on my phone, and Tori will be like, "What are you so pissed off for? What are you reading?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, sorry, I'm just squinting because I can't read the text." And she thinks I'm like reading something is really pissing me off. I'm gonna get glasses this year. I don't know if I'll wear them in videos. Maybe it would be weird if I kind of randomly looked slightly different. There's an element about me that's always been one way and could suddenly be another way. So I don't know if I'll wear them in videos. I don't really need to. I can still see, actually, it would help see myself in the viewfinder, but I always plug it into a larger monitor, so I don't really need to. So no, I don't think I would need to wear the glasses in the videos, but if you want to see some sexy glasses on your Jimmy boy here, let me know. So maybe I will. Maybe I just want to find out that you want it, so I won't. I don't know, but that's one of the many things I do. I want to exercise more, I want to get glasses, and I want to see a doctor about my mental health. I should probably see a doctor about like some other things too. Like I got like GERD or some stomach thing. It makes my stomach feel horrible and burning when I have like half of food. Luckily, I figured out recently that not watermelon, cucumber helps a lot with that. So like I've been using just cucumber water, or just eating slices of cucumber after like meals to kind of help with that. So I've kind of got like a little home remedy for it, but I should probably get a prescription just for something I can take that just actually fixes it. It's hard to convince yourself to do all these things though when they all cost money and you barely have any of that, dude. Like, oh my God. I can't believe how unkind this past year has been to my wallet for no other reason than groceries are ridiculously expensive now. I don't know what's with that. I do know that apparently the Canadian government is like investigating Loblaw, one of our big grocery companies here, because they're pretty sure that's like, yeah, you guys are just actually jacking this up unjustly when you compare it to like actual inflation. So I think like a lot of companies are just kind of taking advantage that that inflation's kind of bad right now and they're charging even more, and it's just making people poor, and it sucks. I kind of wanted to open more avenues for revenue, but in a way that feels like really unobstructive or unintrusive. I know the easiest way I could probably do it would be to start taking sponsors, and you probably know what I feel about that. I feel like, not to say there's anything wrong with anybody taking sponsors, but I personally don't really want to do it because I want my videos to be something that ages well. I want people to be able to click on a video that just says game Nitro Rad in like 2050, and it still just be like, what is this game? You click on it, you come out of it, and it's this comfortable, well-aged experience where it's like, oh, I know about that now. And when I'm advertising to you something that doesn't exist anymore, like I think about that future, and it just, I can't do it. I just can't do it. However, I do think sponsors make a lot of sense on more disposable content like podcasts. So I thought, like, what if I did like a low effort second channel of just me and Brady playing stuff, and like it wouldn't have to get that many views. If we could just do sponsors, I could probably make a decent amount of money a month, and that would be like a little extra, and I would also be able to pay Brady to quit his job and just like make the same amount just editing these videos. That was an idea I had, and me and Brady even like filmed 2 episodes of it, and I never edited it because it's just like I'm terrible at forcing myself to do anything other than the one thing I'm doing right now that I know is like, well, this is me making money the way I want to make. But it's like, unfortunately, the world is oppressive and terrible, and you can't do what you want to make money. Though I'm trying my darndest, though. I feel like I try to break down like what makes something work or good. You know, I really try to do that. And, you know, I try to make the editing nice and clean. I try to have good sounding audio. But it's like, when you put that much work in, it's like, oh, I got, plus with all the other stuff going on in my life all the time. So you get 1 video out a month, and it's like you're barely scraping by at that point. So what would you think if I did a second channel? It wouldn't be this year. It would be next year. Because if we were going to do this, it would be me and Brady putting together maybe 12 episodes of something. And then starting next year, release them throughout the weeks and see what people, just to see how people react to it. Like, what would you think of that? Because I don't think it would take much time away from what I do. Like, if me and Brady started doing it consistently, I feel like it would be like probably 2 days of my month, just going through a bunch of stuff with Brady. Then he has like a month worth of content to edit and then send to me, and I can upload it, and then we throw a sponsor in there or something. I don't know. I feel like that would make a lot more sense than something you're probably not going to watch again, or something people aren't going to watch in 10 years. So I feel like that would be the way I would most rather do it. Though, you know, there's also challenges there. I know that like anytime someone announces like a secondary channel, there's always this concern that it's going to take away from their main channel, and you can promise that as much as you can, and I will, but it's, you know, you never know if people are going to believe that or not, because, you know, people say that and it doesn't always turn out that way. So it's like, I understand that, but ultimately I hate that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed doing it with Brady, the 2 episodes we did film. We played like Virtual Bart, and we also played Sonic Adventure. And I feel like this back and forth will like I'm not funny, but like Brady's funny. Like Brady has something funny to say about everything he says, and I feel like I know a lot about game mechanics. So I feel like it was like this nice back and forth of me kind of talking about like the cultural weight of things and the mechanical value of each thing. And then Brady being like, oh, I remember this episode of The Simpsons, and it's like funny and in a way that I can't be. So I feel like it worked really well. I don't want it to just feel like a Let's Play. I want it to kind of have this like beginning element to it where you see us both on camera in front of my game library, like my physical game library, and it's just us grabbing a game. We go like, hey, you ever heard of this? Yes or no? Or do you have any memories with it? We're on camera talking for maybe a minute or 3. And then you see us put the game in, and then the rest of the, I don't know, 10 to 20, 30 minutes or whatever is just the game in our voice. And then we can have little artwork drawn by Kevin for the thumbnails and for, you know, I feel like a little Brady and a little James in the corners, just to show who has the controller at any given point. That would be like really fun to do. And again, like this is just basic stuff I don't think would be very editing intensive, so it'd be a great thing to throw to Brady. Brady could do all that and I wouldn't have to worry about it. And I don't know. What do you think? Oh, I don't even say the name of the channel. It would be called Brady James. Like, do you remember those old Brady Games guidebooks? I had one for DK64 as a kid, and I always liked that name, Brady Games. So maybe it would be a similar logo, but the G is a James, and it's Brady James. It's Brady and it's James, and that way it could be a little looser too. Then maybe there could be a Brady James video of us playing pool, or something that's not even a video game, or at like a restaurant tasting food or something. Then it could just evolve into whatever random crap. I don't know. I feel like it would be a cool, loose format that would be a little bit different than usual. And I feel like me and Brady, our personas, work together very well. I mean, I've been podcasting with him for a number of years now, and Brady is like an incredible dude to podcast with, because again, I feel like Brady has a lot of strengths that I don't, and vice versa. So I feel like we work together well. So I don't know. That's just a what if right now. I don't know if I want to do that, because again, like I don't like watching Let's Plays. I've never really cared for that. I mean, I used to watch a lot of Slow Beef when he would just like do commentary on long plays of these old adventure games like Dark Seed and Harvester, and I always loved watching those. But it was more so because like there is one really funny guy and then one guy who knew everything about the game, and that was really interesting. And I feel like, I don't know, if I were to do something like that, I would want it to be that dynamic. But also, like, since I don't watch Let's Plays, I like reviews. I like spending a little bit amount of time and feeling like I get a lot out of like an essay. So that's what I want to do forever. That is what I want to really do. So again, I can promise as much as I want that this is going to be what I really do, and Brady James won't ever become a priority or anything like that. But I don't know whether people believe that or not, or what they take of it. It will always vary. So just tell me what you think. That's all I'm saying. Hit the mic. That's all I'm saying. Just throwing out a line, see if I get any bites. I don't know if we'll do anything with this, but it would be a great new avenue for revenue for making my life a little easier, and I could also make Brady's life a little easier, and that would be really cool. So I don't know. Brady James, what do you think? If you do want to just watch me and Brady talk and shoot the shit already, we kind of do already do that. Again, I've got a podcast on my Patreon. It's a $1 podcast. They pay $1, and once a month we do a 2-hour podcast where the first hour is just us talking about whatever. I usually talk about what I did for Nitro Rad that month. If me and Brady made silly videos together just for fun, we'll often talk about that too. And then we talk about whatever. This last podcast, we spent half an hour talking about Dragon Ball GT because I've been watching that for the first time. Other than that, after the first hour, then we take a break and then we answer questions from the audience. So like once a month, I'll make a post on Patreon that all of my patrons can see, where it's like, hey, give us some questions. And we usually get like 40 to 50 questions. So me and Brady both pick 10, so we can choose, so we get to answer 20 questions per podcast. We kind of like played with that, with how many we answer per podcast, until we realized, okay, what is the most amount we can get in really an hour? And 20 questions, that usually makes an hour go by. So that's kind of the number we settled on. And I also try to rotate out the names as best I can. So like newer people who haven't ever asked a question yet they're prioritized. Man, I'm fumbling over the sentence. So if that sounds fun and appealing to you, that is a great way. That's the best way you can support this channel, is just subscribing to my Patreon and getting that $1 podcast. Have a blast recording it every month with Brady. And I don't know if it's any fun listening to it. It's kind of like a low effort, like low production value podcast. I mean, it's lit well. You see us on the screen, and I do, like, I spend a whole day editing it every time, because I really go through the audio levels and I make sure everything sounds good, because we're just recording it off of this microphone, just the same way I am right now, just barely out of frame. And when there's two of us and we shout and laugh, and sometimes the levels they really get bad, so I have to tend to it. So it's not like the worst podcast, but it's not like the biggest effort podcast, but I don't know, it's a fun one. So if that sounds neat, you check that out. It helped me out a lot, and I'm just going in circles right now, so I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Oh my god, how could I forget? We have shirts back in stock at theyeti.com, and they are not a limited thing. They are there forever. well, as forever for a YouTube shirt is, you know, but you don't have to worry about no time limit or anything. You got all the time in the world. It's not a 30-day pre-order like the ones we've done before were. And, you know, it's another way you can support the channel as well. I don't actually make like a ton of money off of the shirts. I mostly wanted them up there just because people really seem to want them. People kept asking me about them. So I tried to work it out with the Yeti that we would get one up there that was a more permanent item, and luckily they were on board, so we got it up there now for the people that wanted it. We were actually going to just re-release the original design, but you know, Kevin is just nutso brain. Kevin cannot just do par, right? Kevin always has to go above and beyond, so he redrew the entire design from scratch and even changed out all of the little collectibles and the different references to different things that I've reviewed in the past. All totally new, pretty freaking wicked. I want to give a gigantic thank you to everybody that's bought a shirt so far, and anybody that plans on buying one too. It is absolutely bananas to me, like, that I've done shirts. Like, it's kind of terrifying, actually, you know, that I have just fumbled my way accidentally into, I guess, becoming culturally significant enough that people want my likeness on their clothing, just because I made some videos about Mario and Bubsy and some video games, and where am I? What is happening? But as existentially terrifying as that can be, it is also the most flattering thing in the universe, knowing that there are people out there that genuinely connect with what I do. So much so that they would buy a shirt with like my whole thing on it. That, like, it sincerely means the world to me. So, like, thank you so much just for, like, the reminder that, like, yeah, I guess I am welcome in the universe, and maybe what I'm doing here is kind of dope and worth something to somebody. So that's pretty fucking wicked. Also, another huge shout out to Kevin for doing this wicked new banner photo for the channel. Oh my god. I've been wanting a new, really big, cool collage of characters up there for a while now, and Kevin just hit it out of the freaking park, especially with, like, the little Gex Island there with all the TVs on it, and probably my favorite detail is the Frogger, the Great Quest Frogger, being barbecued. You got Bubsy burying Gex in the sand. So much going on here. I had a blast thinking of kind of what I wanted to do with this, drawing it in the shittiest way possible. This is actually how all of my exchanges with Kevin usually look when I commission art from him. I draw what I want, and it's kind of just like really poorly made instructions on what I want, and then he can have something to easily bounce off of. And he basically turns my shittiest drawings ever into some of the coolest shit I've ever seen. So massive shout out to Kevin, dude. He is incredibly kind and incredibly easy to work with. He's been an amazing friend to me for many years, and I'm really proud of him for going full freelance this past little bit. And, you know, his work really is that good, and he's getting a lot of people hiring him on stuff, and I've never been prouder of him. So please check him out on social media and stuff. It's just Kevin Fogaragan. Also, one more thing I forgot to talk about real quick. I kind of want to set the record straight because I did turn a lot of heads on Twitter a few months ago by saying this, but I really had a lot of feelings around the name of this channel. I wanted to change it. I feel like I don't really connect with the name Nitro Rad anymore. I feel like it's like, I don't know. I feel like the older I get, the more I mature, the more I kind of want to explore more thematic and emotional elements in videos. And I feel like a name like Nitro Rad feels like, no, go back to reviewing Scrimblow Blimblow platformers, you fucking clown. You know what I mean? There's something kind of juvenile about it that I don't know. I just wanted something that just kind of felt more like what the channel actually is, where you see Nitro Rad. Whoa, look at me, cool looking cartoon character is not what this channel is, and that's what I feel like the name says. So I really wanted to change it. I was thinking about changing it to James Games, which is incredibly generic, but I thought it at least is honest and to the point about what the channel is. It's just me and video games. And I got a lot of people really mad about that. They don't want me to change it because that's the obvious response to anything, is people just inherently hate change altogether. And if you change the name of something that they've known for a long time, then they're obviously going to react poorly. So I kind of summed up most of the reaction to that. But reading through the comments, I did see a lot of really good points. The biggest one was like, yeah, my livelihood entirely depends and relies on how well this channel performs. Like, if I put out videos and they stop doing well, I can't pay rent anymore and I have to find a different way to get income, and that would be a nightmare. And if I changed the channel name, you know how with YouTube algorithm stuff is, if I changed the name of it and I ruined my engagement somehow and I offset, you know, that performance, that could really damage my livelihood. So it's like, no, I'd be dumb to change the name for that reason. I put a lot of thought into it, so it's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna keep the name Nitro Rad forever, I guess, and that's really the main reason. Though I did get some really nice responses. I want to thank you, everybody, for your very kind responses to these confusing feelings I was sharing on Twitter. But I had some people say that the phrase Nitro Rad feels emblematic of the sorts of source material I do like covering, where I like talking about Scrimblow Bimblow old school platformers, and a lot of that era had a lot of that attitude in the coverage, and, you know, Nintendo Power is something I grew up with too. So I feel like maybe it's not this immature, stupid username I made up when I was a teenager. Like, I remember sitting down for a long time and trying to think of a good combination of words that wasn't taking yet, was easy to remember. And that's all I really care about, is the channel name being easy to remember and easy to type out, and just being emblematic of what the channel is. That's all I care about. I don't care about it sounding cool. I don't care about it sounding generic. That was really it, which is why James Games was very appealing to me when I was having these confusing feelings. But I'm starting to think that the name Nitro Rad is more emblematic of that era that I come from, that all of this media that fascinates me comes from. And I felt a little better about the name after I've had a handful of people kind of tell me that that's how they've seen it. So I guess I'm staying with Nitro Rad. Just want to clear that up. It was, you know, I was just having some feelings about, you know, change. Do I want to do this? How's this look to different people? Because that's always a big thing. The quantum uncertainty of having no idea what everyone on planet Earth thinks of the things you put in front of them is something very frightening to me. And then you get lost in the sauce of brain chemicals and stuff. And then I don't know. That's all that was. Just some feelings about that. And the responses I got made me realize, yeah, keeping the name Nitro Rad is absolutely the best decision, even if part of me doesn't really like that name that much, but that's okay. That's all I wanted to throw out in there. I forgot to talk about that when I'm on camera. We're gonna go back to me on camera. I'm gonna talk about my kitty cats, and then that's gonna be it. Our kitty cats have been pretty good. I mean, they're cats. They can be a nightmare sometimes, but oh my god, I love my cats so fucking much, dude. If you follow me on Twitter, I sometimes post pictures of them, just because they're like bundles of joy, and they make every fucking day like they turn every day from an existential nightmare into a reminder of the beauty in the universe. The fact that just all these vibrating tiny particles just fucking banged into each other enough times over billions of years, and now there's a funny little guy here that I can pet and goes and he makes funny noises, and I love the shit out of that. This is my goofiest cat. This is Blinks. I don't know if anyone remembers these. I introduced all these guys last year in the update video, but you know, they've grown a little bit. He's our chunky little monkey. He is stupid as a brick. Recently, my girlfriend was recording him just like freaking out and having the zoomies on the bed, and then his tail's wagging, and he jumps at his tail and falls off the bed. Like, he's dumb and he's rambunctious. He's rather active and healthy for like a chunky fella. He loves green stuff. He loves lettuce. He loves spinach. If we are eating a salad, he'll crawl on our stomachs and try to eat the salad, not off our fork, out of our mouth. He'll like try to reach his snout into her mouth and eat it right out of there. You were such a weird little bugger. Since he's so freaking goofy looking, my girlfriend actually made him an Instagram that just compiles funny videos and pictures of him. So I'm not on Instagram, but if that's something that you do, follow Blinksy Boopah if you want to see pictures of my funny little man. Oh, look at him. He's just a bundle of fluff. Oh, he purrs so easily. Blinks loves rare pets. Like, if a guest is over, he'll just be going up to them trying to get pets. I remember my sister came over to see her place for the first time, and he like licked her. She's never had a cat lick her before. She's like, he licked me. Is that normal? Like, oh no, he's weird, licks people. Like, Blinks will lick you like a dog. And it's weird because cats' tongues feel like sandpaper. But he's a cutie little boy, and I love him so much. He makes me laugh every single day. You're a funny guy, aren't you? Aren't you a funny guy? Oh my god, he's biting me. He'll nibble on you. See, he's licking me. He'll nibble you, and then he'll lick you. He's a nibbler. He never, like, bites down on you, but, like, sometimes he likes putting his teeth on my feet, and it's like, what are you doing? Quit it. Here's Hornet. This is our little raccoon. She's been an extra raccoon this year. She used to just look like one. Now she eats garbage. She's always chewing on the bags itself. Oh, she's so weird. She's like... We always thought she was the smart one, because she's the most agile. She seems like the most intelligent. Like, she could figure things out that, like, the other two can't. Like, I don't know, if something goes in a hole, comes out of the other hole. She wants down. Oh, I'm picking you back up. No, come here. Come here, baby girl. Come here. Hey, Hornet. Hornet. Aww, hello. Sometimes she'll just snuggle with me if I pick her up. She's weird with eating stuff. Like, she doesn't care about treats or nothing. We'll put treats in front of her and she'll sniff them and have no interest in them. Like, Pickles and Blinks, they will just devour the treats. They will just devour them. But we put them in front of her and she doesn't ever care. Yet she loves eating tape and garbage bags and anything with like kind of a crinkly, filmy texture. She just wants to eat it. You're weird. Thank goodness she eats her kibble. It's like she's got like pica or something. She's weird. Are you silly? She's also incredibly bashful. Like, the way she tries to get your attention, she'll roll over and over and over more and more violently, like try to get your attention, just trying to look cute, just so you'll come over and pet her. It's also how she asks for food. She'll like roll around her food dish. Blinks is trying to attack me in the video. Blinks loves TVs. He will, if we're playing Binding of Isaac, you have to do it with him not in the room, because he will just start attacking all the bullets on the screen, and it's like, dude, please don't break my television. Oh, Mr. Pickles still just lets me hold him whichever way, because he just does not care and trusts the heck out of me. Pickles is definitely the most, like, attached to me. What are you putting your foot on my nose for? You look terrified. I'm gonna put you down and pick you up normal. How's that? He definitely trusts me the most, though. He was a little kitten, and for a long time, it was just me and him for a good month. Because that's before Tori worked from home. Yeah, that was before she was around all the time, so it was just me and you. And he's definitely a very shy guy. He's very empathetic, though. He loves his little kitty cat snuggles. He's kind of broken, though. I think he might be like kitty cat neurodivergent or something, because like everything has to be such a specific way. It's almost like a puzzle. Like, he'll jump on your pillow or like on top of like a thing in front of you, clearly, and he makes the same noise, like the same little he makes weird little pickle sounds, but it'll be like, okay, he wants to snuggle, and you have to find the exact angle and height to put your face so he will find it inviting and come to you. And sometimes it's really hard, and he gets stuck in this loop where he keeps jumping up, gets frustrated with something invisible unbeknownst to me, and jumps down, but he keeps trying it. It's like, I know you want to snuggle with me because you're doing everything that, and I don't know, it's weird, but you kind of find out what he wants. It's usually the angle, or I don't know if it has something to do with like scent or something, but I don't know. He's kind of broken, but I don't know. I love him a lot. He's like a little puzzle I gotta solve. He's just a little funny man. I'm holding him in my new Twitter picture. I thought I needed a new picture of me. And I was holding him, and we were both making the same face, so I thought that was a very good picture. Yeah, I guess that's the update video. I think I got everything across. It's pretty much covers it. Hopefully I didn't just say the same thing about my cats I did last year. I don't remember what I said last year, but I love them just the same as last year, so I'll probably say the same thing. I don't know. Thanks for watching this video. If you sat here, watched all of it, thank you for sticking with me and hearing me out and stuff, and I hope you'll look forward to all the stuff I plan on doing in 2023. I'm really excited to do it. Hopefully you're excited to watch it. Maybe I should just drop what the first one's gonna be. It's a game that's haunted me forever. I got a new copy of it like last year, and I beat it on the NES, no cheats, and it's like, wow, I defeated it. I should make a video about this. I always wanted fucking Angry Video Game Nerd to make a video about it, but he never did, so guess you're not getting James Rolfe, you're getting James me. I should say that in the video. That'd be funny to say. I think that'll be the first one I do, because I want to go from NES to the end, and that's a stupid, goofy platformer with a lot of dumb shit. I have some history with it. I can beat it now. I want to show y'all what that whole game is. Hope you look forward to it. Thanks for watching. I don't know how to end videos like this, so what if I just went like...